Look at that. Who's starting 50 and is going to be playing mostly McCree and Hanzo, I believe. So they're number 9. Okay, so first thing first. McCree, pretty simple character. You stay kinda near your tanks. You don't have to be on top of them, but a little behind, a little to the side. So you can get good angles, so you can do damage. And you also play Tracer, that's fine. We'll look at that. McCree's show's pretty easy. You shoot at the tanks until you see something else you can shoot at. And when you see something else you can shoot at, you kill it. But mostly just stay behind your tanks. You don't want to be in the front line. If you're in the front line, then you are the target. Like, if your tanks are going that way, if your Rhine is going that way, go with your Rhine. You don't want to be in front of everyone else. Because, well, Rhine's got 500 HP and a 1600 HP shield. You've got 225. Like, right now, you could just get blown up very, very easily. A 5-strike mine, a 5-strike right-click, a right-click mine, right? You could get blown up pretty easily here. So, be careful. Okay, now we know your tanks. You shoot the Symmetra turrets. Good kill on the Junkrat, that's solid. Careful with the trap, you see it right here. Don't do that. Like, this is not a very big deal. That it's probably not what's holding you back from climbing if you're in bronze. No, it's not a short game, it's not a roll. But it's good to have it to not shoot the Zarya bubble. Like, instead of shooting the Zarya bubble, if you're gonna shoot anyway, shoot the corners of the shield. Where, you know, the Rhine isn't being bubbled, because the bubble will still absorb damage that comes this way, but if you shoot here, it will not. So, if you see a Rhine bubbled, aim for the shield, but not where he's bubbled. Because you just keep shooting at the Rhine while he's bubbled. You basically just gave Zarya 40 free charge, that's my point. Your Rhine charges in, you should probably go in with your Rhine, your Symmetra step though, to the trap I pointed out. Attempt at a stun right click, which is okay, but you shouldn't be crossing the choke by yourself. Which is basically what happened. Like, your Rhine charges in, right? And he gets counter charged. Instead of rolling forward, just try shooting at the Rhine. Like, going forward by yourself like this is just gonna get you killed, because you got to go through, like, basically a choke. And that's what happens. Like, you go through here and you just get spammed out by everything. They are not even shooting at you, by the way. Like, you try to stun right click the Reinhardt, which is, again, a good idea. You even stun the Reinhardt, but it's like, well, you have to cross this entire area and you get hit by a Junkrat mine, and then just killed by a Symmetra turret and the actual Symmetra. Oh, and then a shot. While your Rhine is backing out. So you just went too aggressive. Again, you are not really a frontline hero with McCree. No DPS is actually a frontline hero. They don't have enough health. Some DPS can help the frontline, most like Mei, Reaper, right? The ones that have a lot of HP and a free pass to get away, like Reaper has Wraith, Mei has Ice Block, Cryo Freeze. Doomfist actually is one of the, if not the only DPS that can try to frontline. So long as you have a Zarya, don't Doomfist without a Zarya. At least not until you are like a very extremely good Doomfist. But that's far the biggest thing I'm noticing is that you are going just very far forward. Which, going very far forward, especially if you go in front of both of your tanks, is gonna get you killed. If you ever find yourself in front of both of your tanks, I don't wanna say you're feeding, but you are definitely in a bad position. Okay, let's see. Like, this Ana should be dead right now. Like, the fact that this Ana, remember what I said? Both tanks are here, this Ana should be dead. You hit one shot, Torsion's trying to shoot at her. It's if you kill her. We don't quite manage to kill her, which is unfortunate. We should have, but you know. At this rank, it's just sometimes gonna happen that people don't punish things like that. Don't shoot at the Zarya bubble. Break the trap. I just saw it on your screen. You saw it on your screen. Like, it's right here. Just take a second to break the bubble, the trap, not the bubble. Like, just break the Junkrat trap. It's right here. You can see it. If someone, like, what happened with the Symmetra one, right? Symmetra? No. Is it Symmetra? I think it... I don't know who it was. But someone from your team got caught in the trap and killed because of it. If you see the trap, just take a second. It only takes 2 shots and break it. You were standing at the choke for a little too long. You ran counter charges. I think you were trying to stand the Reinhardt while he pinned forward, but you're buying counter charges instead, which is unfortunate. You can go a little forward in this situation, not too far forward, because if you end up on the same line as your Reinhardt, then you're just a better target for them. But you can move up to here to try to right-click the Reinhardt. Yeah, this is fine. Okay, back out because wall is really good. You run instead, keep backing out. Okay. You get slapped because you are just standing here by yourself and the whole enemy team is looking at you. This should end up in you dying, yeah. So, are you playing horribly? No, but you are playing very open, very aggressively, right? Like you're going into the open to try to contest the enemy, or just backing out into the open instead of, using cover. Like just back out here instead. If you want to go aggressive, don't just do this, but do this, right? Clear this, then you can move here. Okay, you shoot a little bit. Are you just chasing Symmetra? Yeah, that's fine. Break the turret behind you. Break the turret behind you. You sword throw the turret behind you. You thought your mercy was smooth, so you could pick. No, even if you have a mercy, it's not enough. Like, the Overwatch game right now has so much burst damage that mercy ceiling is not enough for picking. Mercy is really good for damage boosting, right? But no matter how much healing you got, picking is gonna get you killed, or has a chance to get you killed at least, because Overwatch just has so much burst damage right now that, especially without like a tank helping you, you are not going to be able to get away with it. You can if the enemy, like, you can try to sneak around and take an off angle, where you have, like, hold on. Let's say that the enemy is still holding here, but you manage to sneak all the way around here and take this off angle. This is a good off angle, and yeah, you can pick a little bit this way because the enemy doesn't know where you are, and even if they know where you are, you still got cover. You're not standing in the open, right? It's not like peeking is just... let me correct myself. You're not peeking, right? You are not peeking around the corner. You are just standing in the open. You can, even if you are here with like, okay, maybe you can try to peek a little bit. Ideally not, because the fight's already lost. If the fight is lost, you probably don't want to peek, especially because they have a mercy. Even if you get a peek, it's gonna get rest. But use cover more. Like if you stand here and you're like kind of peeking a little bit, that's fine. But don't just stand here in the open and call it peeking. You are not really peeking. You're just backing out into the open and getting killed for it. Especially without a tank that's gonna... And when they have so much spam, it's just gonna get you killed most of the time. That kill Symmetra is good. You should still have broken the turret. Turrets have 30 HP, so you can melee the turrets and kill them. You don't need to shoot at them, you just break them with a melee. Just use it, yeah. One kill is good enough. Iron is not that important of an ultimate. Don't hold it. You're gonna get shattered. Unlucky. So again, right, this is exemplifying my point. You went for a high noon in the open, right? You ignored the turret and went for a high noon in the open. You are not using cover. You are just in the open. If you are a little closer to... Oh my god, I need to do something. If you are playing a little closer to the wall, you'll be harder to hit for like the entire enemy team. Like, imagine Diana, right? Look at this Diana. Let me actually see if Diana's... She's not looking your way, but if Diana were looking that way, when you walk a little further forward, she can just sleep you. And you do go a little further forward. And the further in the middle you are, the less of an angle the enemy needs on you. Right? If Diana was one step forward, she could also sleep you. The other hand, if you were playing closer to the wall, they would have to take a harder angle on you. Use cover more. That's a big thing. Like, look how far in the open you are, right? Instead of using the cover, that's right here, to give you safety while you ult, your ult makes you very vulnerable. You are a standing target. The enemy could just blow you up. Like, the jungler is actually looking at you there, and he just decided to go look at the other way. when you go higher up in rank, people will punish this kind of behavior, just going into the open to go aggressive. And again, here just like the mercy. And look where you end up shattered. Right? If you were here, you would not have gotten shattered. Even if you were still here, you would not have gotten shattered. You are just going overly aggressive and more into the open every time you try to go aggressive. You have range. Like McCree, he's not a long range hero, but he's a short to mid range hero. You don't have to be on top of people to kill them, you can just stay here and shoot at the point for free. And if someone tries to push you, you just stun them right click. Good stun. Good right click attempt. Stun right click, that's solid. You can kill him. You can kill him. Good kill. You just grab him win the fight. Okay. Shoot at the echo. Keep track of your shots if you're gonna right click. That one was one where you probably just went to headshot. She's even with a body shot. She would not have died with a body shot, but she would have died with a headshot. So just line up your headshot if you had one shot left. Keep track of your ammo, basically. You kill her anyway, which is solid, but overall, what do I think? Are you just going into the open too much? You go into the open, you get killed. You go into the open, you get killed. You go into the open, you get shattered, then you get killed, then you get res and go forward. I win. Let's fund that one. Alright. So far, every single one of your deaths has been because you are just standing in the open a lot. And don't get me wrong, I kind of feel like you're trying to use cover, like you've got an idea of cover, but you're just not aware of how to use it. Because, how far are we? 3 minutes 41? No, not that great. Break this range. McCree. So let's assume that this is the wall on the very first point, right? This is what you're doing. This is playing with cover. Playing with cover means staying out of the enemy silence, then picking a little bit, taking a shot, and hiding. Right? I'm not very warm up, but you know what I mean. What you're doing is this. Rather than playing with the cover and ducking in and out of cover, like go out, get a shot, go out, get a shot. Right? This is what you're doing. You are playing somewhat near the cover, then you go out into the open, you shoot at them, and then you're just in the open, right? Even if you are starting on cover, it's not using cover if you go out into the open. Like, even at this point, you're already out into the open. Because, yeah, you're still kind of blocking some silence, like, let's say that sign over there is an enemy. If you're playing here, you're still blocking that sideline, but you're not really hiding from any of this, right? On the other hand, if you play it a little, or even a lot closer to the wall, you just gotta peek in accordance with your fire rate. Which, I'm exaggerating it here, you don't have to like hold left click. You can see that McCree fires really fast, but McCree's hitting your shots is more important than just holding your left click, where you may miss more shots. I see a lot of people just hold left click, which is that fire rate, instead of, you know, aim the shot and taking it, aim the shot, taking it, aiming the shot, taking it. Of course, it's a lot easier to aim the shot and take it the longer you hold it, but you don't want to be holding it forever either. So you've got to find the right pace that works for you, where you can just pick out, take the shot, pick out, take the shot, right? Until you can kill people using cover. Because you can see that right here, nothing can shoot you. And the amount of time you are out in the open is the amount of time people can shoot you. So you go out for a second, like even this is good, right? You are even making that bots, like imagine these bots were actual people. If you pick the first one like this, the second one cannot shoot at you. Which is a lie, like, you don't, if you can see them, they will be able to shoot at you. If you cannot see them, sometimes they will still be able to see like a little bit of your body, but it will be really, really difficult to hit at you. And generally, if you cannot see them, they cannot get headshot on you. or it's very unlikely for them to get headshots on you. So if you want to pick just the first bot, you can just pick the first bot. If you want to pick the second bot, you can pick the second bot. And having your crosser like aim more or less where they are gonna be is very important, because then you don't have to make as much of a correction. Like if you're just looking that way, when you go out, then you've got to make all of this correction, right? On the other hand, if you know more or less where the enemy is gonna be, and you're aiming in the general direction, when you pick out, oh, I got to make only a small correction. Oh, small correction, small correction. Hide, shoot, shoot, shoot. Then you can go aggressive when everything is dead. But mostly just use the cover, right? Clear these, clear these. When the enemies are dead or have gotten away, then you can move to the next corner. Let's say maybe the enemy goes out of there, then you move to the next corner. Oh, look, an enemy over there. There's a very long angle. I can just shoot at them. Etc, etc. But let's go back to the actual game. Basically, if you're trying to use cover, you're going too far away. If you're not trying to use cover, and you're just kind of starting on a weird point like that, use cover more. And we were at 3 minutes, 40 seconds, or something like that. Okay. You take the high ground, which is good. You know why the high ground is good? Because it's cover, right? The big deal with high ground, it also makes hitting headshots a little bit easier, and it makes it harder for the enemies to get headshots on you, unless they're at the same height. But the best thing about cover is that, about high ground, is that it's free cover. If you're picking the enemy from over here, and you take damage, when you do this, the enemy can no longer see you, especially if you crouch and do this. It's a lot harder for the enemy on the low ground to shoot at you on the high ground when you take a step back. On the other hand, if you're shooting an enemy and they take a step back to get away from you, you can still see them. So that's one of the biggest reasons why high ground is so good. So you take the high ground, shoot a little bit, you find that there's an echo behind you, that's a free stun right click, or you just kill her, which is also fine. You find the Junkrat, you don't hit most of your shots, but it's okay, he should die anyway, yeah. Stun right click the Rhine. Good stun right click. You have a good idea about stun right clicking the Reinhardt, like, yeah, stun right clicking the tanks is a great way to get value, don't stop doing it. Like, look how much pressure you put on this Reinhardt by stun right clicking him. Blah blah blah, he's at full health, he's at full health. He has no shield, so you go for the stun. He goes from 500 health down to what, 300 and something? 250, 200. Yeah? You do 300 damage with the right click if you got all of your shots, and 25 with the thing, but 5 of that is local armor, so it's more or less 300 damage. And you just basically kill this Reinhardt. He's got no armor, he's got no shield. You can just reload and shoot at him. Canyon is fine. Just trying to clear out the point. Careful with the tire, it's on your left. Oh, he actually did it from spawn. Try to kill the Mercy, which is a good job. Remember what I said? Anything that's basically on the same level than Reinhardt, but that you can shoot at, is a good target. Because usually the biggest reason you want to go over Reinhardt is that he's the only thing you'll be able to get onto. Right? If the Reinhardt is holding here, but you are here and can shoot behind him, don't shoot at the Reinhardt, shoot behind him. Mercy dies. Careful about the tire, okay, unlucky. But you can kill the Reinhardt and it's still winnable. We get crowd. They do have follow-up. They do, with the knight, it's really good. They have enough follow-up to kill you at least. And we're just kind of staggering the point, and we lose this fight because that's just how GCP works. If you lose 2 people, which you did, you lost 2 to the tire, but 1 got rest. I think your Torchon got rest instead of your Ana, which is a terrible idea. Like, your Mercy should have rested the Ana. But anywho, you lost 2 people. Like, you lost basically Ana and you, and on GCP, that's just not a win. At this point, your team should just regroup. Instead, we're using the ultimates. Don't go back in, just wait for your team. Do not go back in. Do not go back in. You are just staggering yourself. Like, you are gonna die here. Like, it is extremely likely, especially because they got illusion now, that they're just gonna chase, no matter how many people you kill, unless you literally kill the entire enemy team by yourself, or you and Dovjun, I mean, it is extremely unlikely that you'll take this. You can kill 3 people, and they still have like 3 people on the point. You are not gonna win this. Their spawn is right there, your spawn is all the way back, way over there. Don't never go back into these fights where that are already lost. Like, you got 4 people, your tanks are coming back, your Rhine is even just spawning right now, and they got 5 people, and their spawn is literally right here. What you could do is take the high ground, right? Play around the high ground. Maybe they do a little bit of poke damage because they don't have a lot of range damage. Like, Echo does have some range damage, but because you are hit scan, you can kinda just play around with the Echo. Yeah, it seems like you're trying to get out, which is, again, it's fine. I would much rather you just hide. I'll say that, like your Dojun is doing, because to get out, you got to go to the open. Once you're already here, you can no longer get out because you got to go through the open. They could have killed you very easily. In fact, I don't know why they didn't. Maybe they just forgot you were there or were going for your supports. Yeah, like, they were just pushing your supports out, which is... Even the Ana could have killed you. She was killing the turret, but she could have killed you with 1 shot. You got under 70 HP, right? Now you got 75. You would have survived with 5 HP, but you get my point. Once you're already in, don't get out unless they pressure you. Just try to play safe until your team regroups, because you can get picked while you go through the open. Don't go through the open. Okay. Taking spam damage, not ideal, but it's fine. You can shoot the Junkrat, yeah. I think you're just very worried about this Echo. You don't have to be worried about this Echo. You can just shoot the things you can see. If you're standing here, Echo is actually the one that has to come into your sideline. You can just stay here, shoot the Reinhardt, shoot the Junkrat. You don't have to try to chase after the Echo, just let the Echo come to your sideline. Also, you can't make a jump. Like, why are you chasing this Echo so badly? Instead, just stay here. And when the Echo goes out, you can shoot at her from, like, up here. Because that's something you can do. That's a free stun. Good stun. You break the copy, which is solid. Just get out, just get out. You can break the tire if you can. No, you cannot. Okay, that's a reset. Again, no supports definitely means reset. And you're resetting. Your aim isn't terrible. Like, I don't think your aim is the problem. Like, it's not that you have such terrible aim that's holding you back in bronze. You don't have, like, it's not like a great player same or anything, at least not from what I've seen, but it's not what's holding you back. I think you actually hit one of those and they just got DM, which is unfortunate. Or did you just miss them all? No, you just missed them all. Okay, well. So, your aim isn't great, it's just not terrible. It's definitely not bronze aim. One thing I'll tell you is stop jumping. Like, jumping is making your aim worse because you've got to correct downwards, and also making you easier to hit because jumping makes you predictable. The jumping patterns in Overwatch are very, very easy to read. So stop jumping so much. And this is something that a lot of people at lower ranks do. Just jump all the time. Jumping will make me less predictable. No. Jumping makes you more predictable. Because instead of just crouching, which you can control, you've got no control over the jump. It's always the same jump, whereas you could just crouch, 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 right? It's more unpredictable. Whereas jumping is very, very predictable. So stop jumping. It is making your aim worse, and it is making you easy to hit. So biggest things thus far, mostly just use cover. But then minor things like stop jumping, stay on the high ground, no reason to drop. fine. This is a fine high noon. Like, you don't have to kill everything for high noon to be fine. High noon is not a very big value ultimate. It's mostly just a sonic ultimate, and if you can kill one person, that's usually enough value. If you can kill more than one, that's even better. But I would use it as soon as the defense matrix, goes down, which is up. You can see it right here, right? But as soon as it goes down, I would just use the high noon to break the Rhine shield, and that's a lot of value for the McCree. We end up killing the Rhine, the Torsion, the Bastion, I mean. And we just take the point. That's pretty solid. Overall, I don't feel like you're playing terribly. You should definitely play more with cover. Like, I think every time you've died, it's been because you've been in the open. Even when you try to get out, you almost died because you tried to go through the open. And it's not that you are playing in the open, you are not starting in the open, but you are trying to go aggressive into the open, which is not the best idea. You can just play here until you get an advantage, then go to the next corner, etc, etc. You don't have to just do this to go aggressive. Especially with McCree, who's got some range to him. You're not playing Reaper, you don't have to be in people's faces to get value. Careful about Bastion, the Rhine shield is about to break, yeah. Don't wake up the sleeping Bastion. You are not enough damage to kill Bastion by yourself. What you want to do in this situation is just play behind cover, like I said earlier, because Bastion cannot shoot through cover. He can shoot through the Rhine shield. And then you can peek out and do damage while the Bastion is moving. And that's basically just how it works. If you play safe, behind cover, right, if you play here and your Rhine plays here, Bastion gets no value from here. Like, yeah, he can do this, but the enemy team is going to come forward at some point because they want to take the point. And when they do come forward, then you can go on them. If the Bastion stays here, you can just shoot them from cover. Because you can clear the Bastion sideline and still shoot at the enemy. If you're playing here, the Bastion cannot shoot at you because of the track, but you can shoot at the incoming enemy. Okay. Like, even this idea of yours of going to the right is good. You are isolating yourself a little too much, or you're just contesting the D.Va, which is not really your job. Like, probably Torjon or Zarya should be doing it, but it's fine. Like, someone has to do it, and if your team is not paying attention to the point. The one thing I was gonna say is that I thought you were going to take this position while your team was holding here, and what I was gonna say is that they can just rush you and kill you, which is a problem. Don't isolate yourself to this extent, right? Isolating yourself to this extent from your team is just gonna get you killed. Again, McCree is actually kind of a vulnerable hero. He's got really good control if he's got support, but by himself he's not that good. Anywho, the same kind of applies here. Like, you want to contest the D.Va by yourself, but so long as you retreat, like, you contest D.Va here, so long as you retreat back to your team, you should be okay. Roll back, okay, you die. And this is just the idea of you being by yourself, right? Like, they can just pressure you when you're by yourself. Even though it's D.Va and Lucio who don't do more damage than you do more damage than both of them combined, kind of. You just end up losing. Even when Zarya and Mercy come forward, it's just like, okay, yeah, but your team is playing here and you're going back in. I know your Zarya is here, but you don't want to play, remember what I said earlier? You don't want to play on the same line as your front line, you want to be a little bit further back. Sorry, McCree, or on a different angle. Mostly just so that you don't get killed, right? If the enemy is here and you're playing here and your Zarya is here, you are just easier to kill than your Zarya, so they will go on you and kill you. Which is what happens, like, you're playing very close to your Zarya and they just kill you. They don't have to kill your Zarya has double your health and a 200 HP bubble, so basically triple your effective health, but you only have 225. If you are if you are in the same position, the same distance from the enemy Zarya, or around the same distance, you're a better target. It's as simple as that.
Objective lost. New defense point. Objective B.
That's a D.Va? Yeah, that's a D.Va. You help Yura. This is good. This is really good. Helping Yorana. She hits the thing, but that's fine. You should reload. While the defense matrix is up, you can reload. And then you can just right-click the D.Va. Now, my guess is that you're gonna try to right-click the D.Va, but it's not going to be enough damage because you don't have enough shots. You don't even try to right-click the D.Va, just go for the left-click. Which is not enough. Then you roll. The roll may be enough. No. She does get out. Okay, you break the mech. That's pretty solid. You should definitely have reloaded, but again, chasing a D.Va that's by herself is fine. Like a 1v1 isolation is fine. That's not that. This is not you just isolating yourself. You're taking a duel, which are different concepts. But good Hainyun. Like the Moira should just die from to it. Just click on the Moira. Don't just stay for too long. And again, you're in the open. You can Hainyun from here and see people. Right? You can stand behind this, which is half cover at least, and still Hainyun the point. Instead, look how far you go. Right? And it's not like their Bastion is going to have the best aim in the world. He's just shooting around you. If you had stayed in cover, Zarya would not have been able to hit you because of her angle. Bastion would have a much harder time hitting you because of his bullet spread and his aim not being great. So you would have had, like, instead of being this big target, you would have been like this target behind cover. So you are again minimizing the amount of space the enemy can shoot at you. And the amount of time if you're shooting, but in this case you're not shooting. So most, if not all of your deaths have just been being in the open. Which I think if you can fix that, it will help you survive a lot longer. And surviving longer means you do more damage, means you have a bigger impact, you build more ultimate charge. Yeah, at this point it's just a cleanup. You could be taking a better position, like take the high ground. Or push those two with your team. Instead we like do nothing for a long time. Also now they got Zarya D.Va with the Bastion, which make the Bastion really easy to kill if you're playing with cover. Because if you're playing with cover and you shoot at the Bastion once, and the Bastion keeps looking at you, you can shoot at something else. The big problem with Bastion is that he can only shoot in one direction at a time and he doesn't move. So if you got two people, say you and Torbjorn, shooting at the Bastion from different angles, which, let me go a little further up, where is your Torbjorn? Is that your Torbjorn? Yeah. So if you're shooting at the Bastion from, say, here, right? And your Torbjorn is shooting at the Bastion from this angle. So you do a little damage to the Bastion has to look at you, but then Torbjorn gets to do a little damage to the Bastion while you're just hiding the cover. And the Bastion does no damage, but he's taking damage. And when he heals, because he can shoot and heal at the same time, both of you just kill him. And that's just one of the simplest examples of how to deal with Bastion. Of course, the biggest problem is that sometimes he'll have a shield, so you cannot just shoot at him for free, but in this case, if the Bastion is in a position where he doesn't have a shield, it is literally as simple as taking cover from the Bastion, and either shooting at the enemy team, or taking turns to shoot at the Bastion. Because if the Bastion cannot kill you, then he gets no value. If you stand in the open, the Bastion is gonna kill you. Okay, you force the Bastion out, which is solid. Kill the Moira, good kill. Even if you had died for that, this is worth it. If the attacking team has no supports, like what I said when you were playing attack, right? If the attacking team has no supports, there's basically no way they win. Unless they literally kill everyone, there's basically no way they win. D.Va just resets. You can... Don't be in the open, I was gonna say, you can slowly push up, and then you just literally went into the open again and died. You're being rushed, which is solid. I cannot overstate how important staying in cover is. Playing in the open is just getting you killed. Every time you've died, it's been because you've been in the open, and it could have been avoided. Or at the very least delayed, right? I don't think the one where you were contesting the D.Va could have been avoided, But you could have, by retreating, you could have delayed it a lot more. Which means you do more damage and maybe win the fight, and at that point you just don't die, you avoid it. Hang on this. You got a Rhine Shield, you got a bubble, High Noon to try to break them out, right? Is your Rhine Shield full enough? Your Rhine Shield is full enough. Just hang on this immediately. Yeah, this is solid. Your Rhine put the shield down. Okay. That's on your Reinhardt? I think the High Noon was the right idea. Even if they grab Diva Bomb, if you kill 3 people, like 1, 2, 3, if your Rhine just holds the shield up, then you don't get killed immediately and you probably just win this. You end up trying to left click before you die, which I think is fine. And then we all just die to the grab bomb. I think that Tynan was the right idea. Your Rhine should have kept the shield up. And when your Rhine put the shield down, I think you panicked and left click, which I can understand. If your Rhine had just held the shield, you would probably have killed at least 3 people with High Noon. Even though they beat. Like, because the beat is just going away. Like, you High Noon here, right? High Noon. You can see that the beat's going away. Your Rhine goes for the shatter, and it's like, you only need like 1 more second to survive this, to get the High Noon off, right? At least to kill 2 people, you only need 1 more second. And you end up pressing, my assumption at least is that you press it early because your Rhines put the shield down so you go low. Which, it's fine. Everyone panics, especially when your Rhine doesn't keep the shield up. Does he have a shield? He should have, like, yeah, he should have a lot of shield. He just went for the shatter. Which, unfortunate, like, if he had told you, I'm going to shatter, maybe you would have kept the High Noon for longer. If he had told you, if he had just held the shield, you could have kept the High Noon for longer. But you don't, because I assume your Rhine puts the shield down and you go low. And then everyone dies to the High Noon, because, I don't know, how do we all die to the High Noon? Not to the High Noon, to the Diva Bomb. Your Rhine charges! Oh. Okay, this death is not your fault, but oh my god! Reinhardt, why? Why? There's a freaking thing! You've got a full shield, dude! Just shield the freaking Diva Bomb! He also dies with Diva Bomb, of course. Like, you try to roll away from it, of course you're not gonna get away. He do recharging. He's like, lol, I gotta kill Bastion, lol. I gotta go into the Reaper ult, lol. This was play of the game, for sure, but should have been for the Reinhardt. Okay then. Do we have bubbles? We don't have bubbles. I can't blame your Sarah either. Yeah, I'll just say you're right through that fight. It was already difficult, right? They got a lot of ultimates to work with, but we kinda had some too. So if we had built Grab Lava, let's call it Grab Lava, maybe we could have won that. Okay, this is just, at this point it's just lost. Do you got Tracer to recontest? Yeah. But even no matter how much you try, at that point it's just lost. Do you stay on Tracer? You do stay on Tracer. Okay, so I don't want this to go for too long, so I'll explain Tracer really fast. When you have like a really frontline heavy team like this one, right? Forget about Mercy, but basically the rest of your entire team is going to be playing on the front line. What you got to do is go all the way around and distract the enemy from the back at the same time that your team is pushing forward. Because you just want to divert their attention. If you go too early, right, then your team is not going to be going in and the whole enemy team is just going to turn around and kill you. If you go too late, then your team is already going to have gone in 5v6 and died. So you go to like go around, right? You can go around the long way too if you want to, right? Like, and wait until your team is pushing forward, and then you can go in from the flank, from behind, maybe from this flank. But okay. That's a too long to read for playing Tracer with a Broly team. It changes for dive, it changes for other comps, but on this one, that's how it's played. You've got to go and distract. It doesn't have to be the tanks. You can distract the Ana, and if you distract the Ana, the rest of the team doesn't have any healing, right? If the Ana is not healing them, Lucio is not enough healing. If you are stopping the Ana from healing the team by forcing her away or just forcing her to look at you, then the rest of the team gets no healing, which just wins you the game. Like, this is okay. I would rather you go a little more aggressive when your team is pushing in so desperately. Like, their Rhine dies, our Rhine dies, decent kill on the Jungler who was by himself. One thing with Tracer is that if someone is isolated or by themselves, the concept of isolation is basically like what this Jungler is doing. He's literally so far away from his team that no one can help him. Tracer is really good at taking those tools. Because Tracer can basically win most 1v1s, if not all 1v1s. If you are good enough with Tracer, you can win all 1v1s, even against tanks. Or against your counters. Like, you can win a 1v1 against a McCree if you bait the flashlight out. This is okay. It's a problem that your Mora is the one going on point. Did we not? Yeah, we did rest a Reinhardt. So don't go too early. This is too early, right? The whole team is looking at you instead of the Reinhardt. Now would be a great time to engage. Like, engage being like getting out of cover and going in hard. Because your Reinhardt is on point, your Sarah is on point. You went a little too early on this one. It still works because you guys had a 2% advantage. Should kill the Ana, should just kill the Ana. You should not have died there, but you know what? It's fine. It's a one fight anyway. Do not go main, go for the flank. Even this is okay, like taking the high ground, you can blink above, go around, get behind them. But this is not good. Don't just shoot at the same angle than your team. Like, if the enemy team is holding a shield this way, right? Like, I don't know, Risa shields or more like curve shield. How do you draw an Orisa shield in 3D? Be like, okay, you know what? Fuck it. It's more like, maybe like that. Whatever, you get my point. If the Orisa shield is here, like curve like this, it's blocking the same damage from your team and from you. Sometimes it's still worth it to take the hard one with long range heroes, because even if they got a shield, right? Did the Orisa have a shield at the beginning? No, the shield is here. Nah, whatever. Even if, well, does she put another one down? There it is. If you got a long range hero, you can shoot around the shield and above the shield, right? You can take an angle that will allow you to shoot behind the shield, which has become an instinct of sorts. Heroes play very differently, but yeah, McCree, Ashe are really good. Tracer does, it's not that she doesn't want to maybe start on the high ground, because the high ground, first you are contesting the high ground, which is pretty solid, and it gives you the option of having more, well, options, right? Playing on the high ground, you have the option to go here, you have the option to go here. Playing on low ground, you don't have those options, but you don't want to stay here forever, because Tracer is a very short range hero. She only plays within like 10 meters, 12 if you are really, really good. But yeah, don't stay here, because a Tracer here gets no value. She doesn't have enough range. Torsion does, right? Torsion can shoot around the shield, and even at the shield, if he wants to break it, but like behind the shield, right? Around the shield from this high ground, and he can do damage because he doesn't have any drop off, but you do. You playing here is not good. You should just blink, come behind them, and shoot the Ana, shoot around the shield. Tracer does not want to be shooting at the shields or at the tanks. You want to get around and shoot something else because it's more likely that you kill the squishies. Unless the tanks are overextended or have no cooldowns or are on low HP or whatever. That's a quick rule. Never shoot anything with armor unless you know you can break it or you got help, because you are not gonna break this armor by yourself. Or unless you're taking like a 1v1 against Reinhardt and you are just shooting the Reinhardt. And we just don't go in. You should have probably touched. If you haven't gone out, like, why did you do this? Just do it like this. If you want to drop from the high ground, you can drop, go here, go around, and you could have set up here to touch, go for the pull jump, etc. But with Tracer, the biggest thing is take harder flanks. Don't shoot main.
2 to 3. Switch.
And you play Hanzo on defense.
Ready for battle.
So, I really, like, you play high ground with Ashe, but you don't play high ground with Hanzo? Hanzo is basically Ashe on steroids. Steroids, there you go. Why? He does a lot more damage, right? Hanzo does a lot more damage. He's got burst damage on top of it, and he's got more movement than Ashe. Of course, the trade-off is that he has a harder to hit projectile, right? Hanzo's arrows are harder to hit than Ashe's bullets. But you should start on the high ground. This is really good. You've got cover. You can shoot anywhere the enemy comes. Like, enemy comes through a window, you can shoot. Through here, you can shoot. Through here, you can shoot. They come behind you, you can do this. Oh, cover from that angle. Or, oh, cover from that angle, right? This box is really good because it provides you cover from every angle you want to play at. The enemy goes top left. Oh, I now do this, and I can shoot at you. From this side or from this side, right? So Hanzo, take the high ground. And if they dive you or whatever, you can just drop to your team. You got a leap, right? You can leap back, go around to your team, or leap back, climb back up if they chase you, or just leap to your team. That's how it usually works. Anywho. Good kill. And now you take the high ground, which is solid. You should be aware of passion at this point. Don't drop to contest D.Va. You can contest D.Va from the high ground, and she's the one that has to use a cooldown to get to you. And touching is not your responsibility alone, but even if you wanted to be the one touching, let's just say that no one in your team is touching, and you want to avoid them getting a tick, you should drop at the very end of the cap. Not at the very beginning. Because distance is your friend. Like, at this range, at close range, D.Va has the advantage. She doesn't close the distance by any means, which is good for you. Instead, she uses her booster to just get out once you've done enough damage. But D.Va should be trying to get on top of you with the first matrix, micro missiles your face, and then you're just dead. Because you basically isolated yourself from your team, right? Anywho. Kill the Bastion. Good job killing the D.Va. Don't hard focus the baby. Don't hard focus the baby, and especially don't get this close to baby D.Va. Baby D.Va has a very slender slim, like, if this is a normal DPS, probably not, but if this is a normal DPS, baby D.Va is more like this. She's very hard to hit, unless you're good with aim. And she's also not your priority. Like, it's only baby D.Va, she doesn't do enough damage. Instead, you should be shooting at the rest of the team. Because this Rhine dying, it's not entirely your fault, but this Bastion has not had a shield for a long time. So how come this Bastion, like, look at this Bastion. How come this Bastion is not dead? Because you are just chasing the baby D.Va, that's why. This Bastion should just be dead. And instead he kills your Reinhardt. The Reinhardt tries to charge the Bastion, which is never a good idea, but would have worked kind of, maybe more likely to work if you had just shot the Bastion. Storm arrows the Bastion, but also don't drop from the high ground. Again, if someone is shooting at you from behind, you can just come here. Or here. And if there's a Lucio in your face, you just Storm Arrows the Lucio. Okay, so we lose this point. Boop, boop, boop. We are gonna lose this point no matter what. Don't use your dragons like that. Just accept that this is... sorry. Accept that this is likely to be a draw. And keep your dragons for the next point so you don't get snowballed. Because what's gonna happen is we're gonna lose this fight anyway. We only have like 2 people left. And we've used basically every ultimate we had. And now they are gonna come with ultimates and kill us. And you are staggering yourself. Use this time to set up for the next point. Don't just go back in, like... Yeah, you're just gonna die. And you do have a 3-second respawn. But it's better for you to use the time. To, you know, set up maybe on the high ground. Maybe around here to shoot at them as they come through, right? Not just feed out to the point. They're just gonna snowball you, I already know it. They're call essence. Grab, tire, BD soon. You only got 2 ultimates. If you had kept your dragons, maybe you could have pushed them back a little bit. Like, let's just say that you play defensive, you play over here. When they go for the grab, you dragons on top of the grab. And if they try to tire the grab, the tire just breaks to the dragons, right? Even with that, it's like, yeah, you do more damage because of great kill. That kill may actually win you this fight. Or may have, I know you don't already, you get snowballed. But that may have actually won you the fight. Like this pick. Because that was just random, you cannot tell me it was not. You killed someone with a random sonic arrow body shot because you are double power boosted. Which takes your 225 plus, what is it, 80%? Which I think is 82.5 or something like that. So it's like 207 damage. Look at that, and you just randomly kill the Mercy. The Moira, sorry, which is really big. You may still lose because they got grab tire. And sometimes you get lucky. You may still lose because they got grab tire, and if you use your immortality field, it's a free fight win for them. But on the other hand, they have no shields. They have no way of pushing, so maybe you win this, yeah. Storm out Sativa, that's pretty solid for Sativa out. Okay, they beat. Do they just... Yeah, they just press Q at this point. They just press Q and win. This is the let's press Q and win time. Do they have the junglers coming back? So they are technically down 1 person. Oh, but your Baptiste is dead. This is lost. Without your Baptiste, you just lose. Because you got no immortality field, they are just gonna grab and kill you. With grab coke, grab tire, grab whatever. About to use it. There it goes. Super telegraphed. The Rhine goes in. Oh, they have a Reinhardt now. Oh no, that's our Rhine. Never mind. There's the Coalescence. There's the Riptire. You tried the dragons. Like, you actually build up your dragons pretty fast, but just you didn't have the time. Which is not a big mistake from you. Like, you just used them as soon as you got them, basically. Like, you took the shot and used dragons. But it's just late. Yeah. Okay. So, again, the bigger things on Tracer, you need to think that coming from behind, oh my god, phrasing, but taking an off angle behind the enemy is better than just going with your team. Like, this is not much of an off angle, right? If the Ana is playing here and you come this way and your team is this way and the enemy team is holding here, right? Like, the enemy team is holding here. If this is your team and this is you, the Ana can still see you while she's looking at the team. It's a very minimal change. On the other hand, the more aggressive your off angle is, the more your Ana will have to look away. And if you come from behind, again phrasing, like the enemy team is holding here, your team is pushing this way, and the Ana has to decide, do I look forward to heal my team, or do I look backwards to check the Tracer behind me? And the more they go to turn around, the longer it takes, right? And you can do more damage, and also the more it distracts them from healing their team. Because They are healing their team. They've got to turn around, deal with you, even if you die or just are forced out because whatever. Then they got to go from back to forward again, which is gonna take even more time. So with Tracer, I'm not saying always go behind, but don't just take small off angles because those are not as good. Like even this is fine, right? Because if you're forcing Anna to look this far away, that's probably worth it. She cannot like throw a nade at her team, take a shot at you, then take a shot at her team with a single flick. She's got to move more. As for McCree, you just need to play with cover more. Right, let's take a 3-minute break and then I'll do Crunchy E. Crunchy E. Okay. Crunchy. I'll be back in 3 minutes, chat.